All right. Is this Cab Manning? Is that the guy that does the podcast with Billy?
That is Billy's co-host. Yep.
Okay. Okay. We're Cab Manning. You sent it an email. I'm not going to read it. Okay, because you didn't ask a question. All right. But Coney can read it. Coney, do you see Cab's email? He's giving you
No.
props for your speech, but he did not ask a question, so I'm not going to read it.
All
All
right.
right, next is a so Cav, ask a question next time. You know, we love you. Like he's actually a really good co-host with Billy. So he's actually a very good podcaster. So next from Lion McCarthy, the subject is WrestleMania. Hey guys, sent a question yesterday. I think it was just watch the Hall of Fame. My question this time: if Conan stayed for WrestleMania, which I expect he did, sorry if I'm wrong, did anyone have anything bad things to say about the podcast? Also, did anyone confirm they listened to it? Thanks, and that's from Liam. Yeah, we didn't get into the details of that. Does who listens to the podcast in WWE? Are you willing to like say like guys that are fans of the podcast?
Yeah, I don't think they would want me to say it. So,
Uh huh.
but we
Okay,
do
but
have a
more
lot
than
of people that listen to it. Yeah.
more. Give me a number. More than 10 or less than 10.
Uh, more than 10.
Interesting.
Nice.
You gotta. I mean, honestly, I think like a lot of the wrestlers, especially, like to listen to like the old school podcasters and what they think of their work. You know, like when they hear like clips of them and stuff,
Yeah.
and like
Well, not only that,
you know,
they're driving from town to town too, so it's good content.
Yeah,
right.
and if who would you rather listen to, Conan and Disco? Either
Well,
Or
praise your
Josie.
work, or do you want to listen to some guy?
listen. If I was listening to podcasts, okay, and I listen, bro, I like to listen to the critics.
Hmm.
I'm not a big fan of people like putting me over. Like if I see a comment that put me like I'm gonna look down. I want to see what my critics are saying because I want to know what. Okay, maybe that criticism is is this guy just a
Valid.
hater or does he have valid criticism? Because like I feel I'm confident in what I do. If you're putting me over, it's like okay, because I think I did well. If you didn't like what I did, I'm gonna read. Okay, why don't you like what I did? And like okay, like and maybe that's some advice I could take going forward. It's like maybe I could use this like some of my critics. If I change this, I could turn these people into my fans. Like like that's the way I look at it. I wonder if like a lot of the wrestlers that are confident in themselves probably feel the same way when they listen to these podcasts. Like I imagine like you got like perfect example. Like I used to bury Seth Rollins, right? And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like as we started putting him over because I was very impressed with his work, and he used to block me on Twitter. He doesn't anymore. So I'm just wondering, like like okay, is he just likes to hear what he likes, or was this guy listening to me and like didn't like what he heard, but like kept listening and then heard that and said, okay, I'm gonna not block this guy. Because like because maybe I mean, who knows? Maybe he took some of the constructive criticism to task. Like we're not like you could sit there and listen to our podcast, right? And if you listen to our reviews of the shows, and a lot of critiques we have, okay, because Conan writes for AAA, produces, like if there's a brother like the main event. What was the main event in the last Triple Mania?
Mass versus Mass, Pentagon versus Villano.
Okay, Pentagon versus Viano. Was it Pentagon, Viano, and you sitting in a room going over this match, or did you just okay? You guys go over the match and come and bring it to me.
Uh, yeah, it was. I gave some ideas and I said incorporate them into your match, and then they put the match together and then they brought it to
So
me.
you're literally you're on this podcast
Right,
critiquing wrestlers' work, but you're a guy that actually produces main events of pay-per-views.
right,
Okay, so and like I have done that too.
right.
So it's like our critiques of stuff of work and things we don't like. They're things that we would actually, if we were in a room with us, we'd be telling right to your face, this is what we think you should be doing and something. And I wonder if people like bro, we're right a lot. I mean, that's one thing people can't knock us for. But we keep it 100, and because we're not in the echo chamber of like this, all the, everybody's saying things that people go, bro, we give good constructive criticism, and it's usually right on time. Bro, I talked to a WWE writer, a friend of mine, and stuff, everything, and he used to work there, not anymore. You know what he told me? That he listens to our podcast. He loves our podcast now. Okay, he's
Right.
been for like months. And you know what he says?
What?
He goes, well, I go, well, why do you like it? He goes, well, let me tell you, the first thing that sticks out is that like you two guys do not give about what you say.
Right.
Like you're very real, you're very raw. He goes, and plus, he goes, you two are so much insanely smarter than the people that run WWE right now. It's like, bro, we're like, we know what we're talking about. Like I think people are getting a lot of free advice from us, like on this show, and like, I don't know. I think my criticism is very constructive. I think I give good advice. I think we're pretty good on so I don't know.
Did he also happen to give any compliments for my contributions?
No, you were not. You were just in passing. Yeah.
Okay.
He wasn't a fan of the Addicted to the Blade stuff.
Right.
So next is from the Garth F. Killing Machine. Nash getting beat up as a subject. Conan, your Hall of Fame speech was fantastic. Garth, that's debatable. What was it like talking to Batista at the event? Billy Barry reporting to show that Batista was being inducted this year. We all know that Billy would never make up a story so they could get on your show. Speaking of Hall of Famers, I listened to the Kevin Nash podcast.
Did he say Batista was going to be on the Hall of Fame?
Not on this show. I don't know if he.
I think he reported it on Twitter, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. It's like but guys, just for future reference, I don't follow Billy's material. We would bring him on the show when he would report his stories. So anything he said in the show, I think maybe be stuff that he knew was like 100%. So I doubt he would give us fake news on stuff he reported on this show because he knew we'd bury him. Speaking of Hall of Famers, I listened to Kevin Nash podcast. On the most recent episode, he said that when he made a return during the Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus started throwing live rounds at him multiple times during the match. Said they felt like they were worried that he might take their spots. What do you think about this? And do either of you have any stories about how during a match someone would start shooting on you for dumb reasons? I'm going to go back and listen to this, okay? Because I don't know if Drew and Sheamus. I could see Kevin Nash looking at Sheamus thinking he's throwing live rounds, but that's the way Sheamus works. Like, he throws live rounds. He throws clubbing forearms, very physical, he's just a big guy that throws live rounds. He doesn't, he's not a soft wrestler. Neither is Drew. Like, you watch Drew, bro, the chop exchanges in that Drew, Sheamus, Gunther match were like what chops are supposed to look like. Like they were throwing like live round, hard ass, swing your arm really hard chops in the chest. And it's like it kind of makes like guys it actually makes the guys that don't know how to do it look like they don't know how to work. But like, bro, chops should be live. I don't know. It's like I could see Kevin thinking these guys were working, throwing live rounds, but I think that's just the way they work. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I agree. I think they were probably working snug, and he's not used to it. And because I spoke to Drew and Sheamus backstage, and they were both very respectful. So I know if they respect me, they respect Kevin.
Right. Next is from Blue, and the subject is Dave Meltzer apology. Hi, K100 crew. Just want to get your thoughts and an opinion on Dave apologizing his CM Punk comments. He said he felt guilty. Do you think he's apologizing because he's good friends with Tony Khan? Do you think he opened a Pandora box and because he apologized for not stating his story that CM Punk is injured, that he should apologize to every wrestler because he didn't provide a full, accurate story? Is Dave too involved with AEW? If you've not heard already, here's a small 35-second clip of what he said. Start the clip at 3 minutes and ends okay. Let's listen to this. I haven't heard this yet.
Consequences of it, or the actual reporting of it, because
no. I mean, the only thing that I feel guilty about, and I do, as everyone knows, is that when I wrote that, I should have mentioned he's also coming off an injury, because that kind of gave him the open. It's like, hey, he didn't even mention, I was injured, and he didn't really specifically go into anything. But it's like, I want to always do a thorough job, obviously. And if this was in the Observer, I would have written the whole thing as it was.
In the context, right.
And in the context that it deserved. And this was just like a flippant thing. And it wasn't, it was something from a long, long time ago in my mind. It's not like, I'm going to go revisit, everything that AEW and WWE's done 6 years ago, or even 6 months ago. I usually write what's going on now. And to me, that was what happened then was to me a dead subject. It was just that somebody brought something up and I didn't even really need to address it, but I did. And, so that's kind of like where my thoughts are. But yeah, I know if you think that that's like an interesting story that there was, it wasn't all smooth sailing when it comes to that. But in the end, it often never is. I mean, if you really know what's going on,
That's enough.
as far as,
What's he talking about?
I mean, he's kind of
When Punk responded on Instagram and told the story about how he was injured before the Moxley
Did you see
match.
that, Conan?
We discussed it, yeah.
You never saw that? Joe, pull that up. I think Conan missed this.
No, I mean,
Punk-
you might not remember.
Punk
but we
posted-
did.
Well, I don't
Punk-
remember, Joe.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
got you.
All right, we'll try to find that.
Mhm.
The Punk Instagram story. Okay, Conan, here's what happened. So the story that's floating around is that they were ready to bring Punk back, that him and Tony Khan had conversations. But Punk, for some reason, went on Instagram and posted an Instagram story that basically buried Tony and Moxley, saying that he wasn't ready to come back physically, like he was hurt, and they wanted him to come back and do a squash match because he was hurt, and he would just have to get through it. And he said that Moxley said he would never put him over. And Punk said that pull the story up, Joe.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I vaguely now remember some of
All
that.
right. Okay, I'm gonna read it because Punk took the story down, but all right. Let me read this. I wasn't clear to come. Okay, sigh. I wasn't clear to come back to wrestle yet. Then the plan was to wrestle the pay-per-view. I sat and listened to Moxley's Rocky 3 idea. I explained how I'd never seen a Rocky movie. That honestly, that is a
Okay,
black
he
mark.
gets kazooed for that.
Yeah.
Why?
It's like-
Why not?
I mean, all of you CM Punk fans have to put that. You have to put that in your memory hole that he has not seen a Rocky movie. Okay, and so I question your loyalty. I explained how I'd never seen a Rocky movie and thought the idea sucked, but if the boss wanted to do it, whatever. He said he wouldn't lose to me. I'd never experienced someone refusing to lose to me. I just laughed. I asked Tony if this is what he wanted. He said yes. He's the boss, so I said okay, but I need to be cleared first. They kept saying it could just be a squash as I didn't need to be cleared. I scoffed at that. My health is more important. Dave Meltzer's a liar. Jericho's a liar and a stooge. There were plans, but plans always change, but I'll never put a company above my health ever again. All right, so
They wanted to squash Punk.
Yeah,
because he was
they wanted-
hurt.
right.
They wanted him to work hurt and just do the squash because they had to do something because he was hurt.
But that's
Why
what they
not?
did. Remember,
Well, that's what
Moxley
he's
beat him
claiming.
in a minute, and then Punk beat him at the pay-per-view to get the belt back.
Right, that's what he's claiming. But
Right.
now he's claiming that Moxley said he would never put him over. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Everybody, when this was reported and Punk posted this, and they took it down quickly, right? But everybody saw it. My question was why is everybody believing Punk's version of the story here? I mean, we're just assuming because it's CM Punk and he's straight edge. It's that this is the story and this is true. I would like to hear that debate, like we heard from Moxley, and I guess Moxley had a different version.
Yeah, it's up on the screen if you want to read it.
All right, let's hear it. Read it because I can't.
Well, Moxley said it's annoying just because someone said some stupid on social media. That's not news, but it is and becomes a thing. I don't want to get dragged into this dumb. I could unload on a lot of people right now, but I'm not going to sink to that level. He also mentioned how he wasn't under AEW contract during that match. He says, I basically don't work there. For all intents and purposes, I don't even work here. Tony was not my boss. I don't even have to be in this room. I don't have to do. So even me being in the room and offering and agreeing to a storyline to put you over on a pay-per-view, if anything, I'm bending over backwards for Tony and for this dude and the company and everybody. I didn't have to. I didn't have to do. So that's it. And that's also where he said he's never seen so much drama in one place in my entire life, which we said last week too.
Yeah, right. Let me ask you a question, Conan. How would you handle guys publicly talking like this?
I would tell them to knock it off, bro. It's not good. It's not good business unless it's part of a angle. I would just tell them to knock it off.
Well, what if they don't knock it off? What do you do?
Then either you suspend them, fine them, or fire them, depending on every.
It's not like you haven't fired friends of yours repeatedly.
Right.
It's just like your thing is all strictly job performance,
Bro.
strictly the way you treat the company, strictly everything.
Here's a saying.
Go ahead.
Here's a saying that I always have, and I might have even used it in the speech. I've always say, and it's true, bro. It doesn't matter how talented you are if you're not disciplined.
Right.
Look at Teddy Hart. Look at Juventud Guerrera. Look at Low Key. Look at so many people.
Look at
that
Billy.
was, yeah, right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, so many people are good at their craft, but they're not disciplined enough to navigate
Right.
their careers. You know?
Right.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Well, also, this isn't much of a comment, but I wanted to mention it because Jericho did Mark Madden's podcast on March 30th. And Madden, of course, asked about Punk's potential return. And he asked, are you on Punk's Christmas cards list? And Jericho said, I'm not, but I wasn't on Scott Hall's Christmas card list or Eric Bischoff's. You don't have to be best friends to coexist. So to me, that's not really my wheelhouse. I'm not in charge of that. I'm sure there will be some answers to that pretty quickly, I would assume, either way. But to us, AEW is going to thrive and survive with or without him. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So
okay, the level of accuracy in the word thrive with or without him is not would be debated because that show the numbers are pretty obvious. Punk draws better numbers than they're drawing right now. There were over 1 million numerous times at Park. So like they could use him because he has a lot of fans he can bring to that product that I think quit watching because he's not on the show. So like I think they should make it's not hard to make work. Come on. Everybody at the end of the day will sit there and shake hands and hug. So like this is professional wrestling. Like we've seen like this so many times. Like, you have beefs. So it's like you're in a marriage. You're on the road with these people like these professional wrestlers spend more time with each other than they do with their wives and girlfriends sometimes. I know it was true back when we did it because we were on the road 4 days a week and home 3. So it's like how can do the math? You're away from your family more than you are with the you're more with the wrestlers than you are with the family. So it's like you have these squabbles, you have these fights, and it's just like a married couple. They argue, and 2 days later they're having makeup sex. So it's like is that a pretty accurate description of professional wrestling? Yeah.